Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back. Our topic today is about paradise, who enters paradise and who enters the hellfire. Some believe that paradise is only for Muslims. No Christians, no Jews, no pagans, no sapiens, no human except Muslims. This is wrong. Some believe that Muslims certain sects will enter paradise, like An-Najiyah or this people, and everyone puts his own recipe for entering paradise, and that's why everybody is clashing with everyone and trying to make their point through. Unfortunately, with these misconceptions and misunderstanding of this issue, people are fighting, are not coming together and not helping each other, and they are creating enemies instead of creating friendship, love, and trying to help each other. Inshallah, I'm going to make this issue clear in, inshallah, the next minutes or so. This issue, I used basically the Islamic perspective, the ayat, the hadith, and looked at the whole picture, and I came up basically with simple concepts that will clarify this issue. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everyone, the 7.5 billion who live today on earth. They are all going towards paradise in general, except there are some people who will go down to hell. Now, majority of the people, most of the humans who live on earth today will go to paradise, except some, and underline some. Number one, hypocrites. Hypocrites, those who pretend that they believe and they hide disbelief, and they work accordingly. Imagine, this is the worst of the worst, and this type of people will be in the lowest part in the hellfire. Second, those who rebel truth. If you rebel truth, you know the truth, just like knowing your name, no hesitation, and with no hesitance, and you choose to be rebellious. That's the second one. Third one, arrogance. Arrogant people, they choose to be arrogant. Why? Because of their status, of their power in the community and so on. So they choose to do so. They choose to cover the truth. The word in Arabic, kufr, means to cover. To cover. So you cover intentionally. If you cover intentionally, that means you have a problem. You mean to have a problem and you meant it this way. So basically, these are the people who are going to stay in the hellfire because you know the truth and you cover it. You do not want to support the truth. You do not want to support justice. You do not want to support those who are weak or those or right concepts to know why you're living this life. But if you don't know at all, and that's the case for the most people who live on earth today, if you don't know, then you are not accountable. This is another big issue. This is another big issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. And surely we are not going to punish anyone unless we send them a messenger. Messenger, that means will clarify issues for them and they'll be able to choose right from wrong. Now, most people say, oh, internet is everywhere and Islam is, everybody hears about Islam and so on. They hear the wrong things. They hear hatred. They hear explosions, they hear problems. They don't hear good stuff about Islam. That doesn't welcome them to Islam. That gives them a reason to abandon Islam and stay away from Islam. And that's another problem. And that's why the Prophet stayed 23 years among his people, those who spoke same language, same culture, they shared same culture, and they were able to, he was able, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may peace and blessing be upon him, that why he was able to convince them. 23 years. But just saying, oh, if you search the net, you find everything, that many people did, and they became Muslims, and many people have no access to it yet, such as in China, in North Korea, South Africa, and so on. People are so consumed to get food on their table. When you hear that 6 billion people living under $100 a month, so you know why. Poverty is eating them. That's a big reason, for example. So let me go back to the issue. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this issue, who enters Jannah, and who enters hellfire, clear. He says, if you do good, any good you do, it will put you in paradise. So the good is the indicator, any good. Now the first important good that for Muslims to abide by is to believe in the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the most important thing, and that's his way. And that's the best way, the shortest way to paradise is to follow Allah's way. Al-Quran, the Quran, and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But for others, whoever does good, it will be accountable for him or her, period. Unless they reject purposely, intentionally. They do not want the truth, they want to rebel, they want to be hypocrite, they do not want to support justice, and there are a few of them. If we are to put a percentage for the 7.5 billion, it's less than 1%. That's what I believe. It's less than 1%. And those 1%, they are the rich, they are politicians, because they know the truth and they hide it. Not all, I'm saying, not all politicians, not all rich. No, I'm saying that's their stats basically, because they are on the top in the power, and they know who is who and how to deal with things. So in paradise, Allah made it levels. The highest level is basically with the prophets and the good doers and the martyrs, those who work day and night for the sake of Allah. If you want to be there, that's what you have to do. Now, the lowest in paradise is the last person who comes out from the hellfire. He will be given 5 times worth of earth. Like, imagine you have this whole earth for you, and 5 times like that. That's the least in heaven. Now, in hellfire, or in the hellfire, there are also levels down. The lowest part, or the lowest punishment, and the lowest who are going to be down in the hellfire are the hypocrites. And we said why. On top of the hypocrites, the kuffar who knew the truth and they intentionally decided not to follow it, and they worked against it. On top of them, there are levels, and the kuffar are levels too. The non-believers are levels, and based on their disobedience and their work, they will have their punishment. On top of the non-believers are disobedient Muslims. Imagine a Muslim to be in the hellfire because of their mischief on earth. They betrayed people, they stole people, they were lying, they were doing evil stuff to people. And that's where the Prophet ﷺ says, the books in the Day of Judgment will be 3. One, that Allah will forgive all of it, and that's his rights, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second one is he will not forgive that book, that anything in it that is to believe in him. If you don't believe in him intentionally, he will hold you accountable for that. And third one is he will not leave anything until he will look for and hold people accountable for, which is the people's rights, the people's dues. Because these are people's. It's not for anybody. If you stole from me $10, then you have to pay me $10 today or tomorrow or in the hereafter, period. That's why one of the names of God is the most just, Al-Adl, the most just, Al-Adl, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will hold everyone accountable at the day of judgment. That's why it's called the day of judgment. And he will give everyone their dues 100%. So these are the levels of paradise. And let me remind you with something very important, that if you choose to remember the hadith, the saying of the Prophet where he says, whoever says La ilaha illallah will enter paradise. Oh, I say La ilaha illallah, I'm good. But remember, if you mistreat people, you will be in the hellfire. If you steal, you'll be in the hellfire. And then why be in the hellfire for a second while you can be in the heaven, in the highest level? Why don't we appreciate God for giving us this opportunity? Why choose to have fun in this life? We can have fun. It's not unlawful to have fun, but there is a good fun, there is a bad fun. The good fun is where you can have money, you can buy a car, you can buy a house, you can get married, you can do all the stuff that you, but there are certain things that you don't mistreat people, don't steal, don't cheat, don't do anything bad with people, and respect borders and boundaries. If you do that and give Allah's dues, then hopefully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put us in paradise. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين.